Good evening, everyone. It is Sunday at 7:01 p.m. I am Seth Eisenberg, and this is the Conservative Corner. I got the Christmas stuff up since we're in December, and it's not that, 2 weeks off Christmas? About 2 weeks? Not that far off. So, yeah, I decided I'd go with it now. I got other ones I'll change every Sunday, so it's all good. Hope you had a good week. Hope you had a better weekend. Got to do some things. Again, it was cold as hell here. Didn't do very much outside because I'm a sissy. I hate being cold. Never like being cold. Even though it's easier to get warmer than it is cooler, I just don't like being cold. So I don't go outside unless I gotta. Hibernation. Hibernate in the winter like a bear. I don't have as much hair as a bear, but still, they got it right. Hibernate when it's cold. Hang out when it's hot. So yeah, I hope you all had a good weekend. And what's left of it, hope you enjoy it. Thanks for hanging out with me tonight. Excuse me. Remember to like, subscribe, and share the America's Pulse Network with everybody you know and with people you don't know, which makes it even better. That way, if they don't like it, they can't come at you because they don't know you. So let's get right into it with the interesting and breaking news here. We've got my favorite city in the country, Portland. They actually booed the word Christmas during the tree lighting ceremony that they had. On top of not calling the Christmas tree a Christmas tree, they called it a holiday tree. And they began chanting Free Palestine instead. I can't think of a more low-class, gutter-dwelling, toilet bug thing to do than that. These people are insane. These anti-Israel, anti-Semite people are insane. They're scary. They're so stupid. I don't understand what they thought they were doing. I mean, why are you attacking Christmas now? Like we've said before, they're not going to stop at Jewish people. They're going to come for Christians. They're going to come for Catholics. There you go. They're coming for Christians now. Your holiday means nothing to them. It's more important to talk about Palestine and make sure everybody knows how evil the Jews are. Who cares about Christmas? It's not important. Palestine is. You better wake up. All these anti-Semites, all these talking heads you see on podcasts or TV or online and Facebook, wherever, this is where it's leading. Once they get done with the Jews, they're going to come for the Christians. And there's your proof. We're not just talking out our ass here. There you go. Keep thinking, once they get done with the Jews, they're going to stop. Nope. They're showing you. They're telling you right now, this is what's going to happen next. So y'all keep ignoring it. You think it's just a Jewish problem. Let me know how that works out for you. Eurovision, I don't know if anybody knows what that is, unless you live in Europe or something or been to Europe. It's like their big singing contest. All the countries get together and do like songs and original songs, and they pick a winner. Spain, Ireland, and Slovenia pull out because Eurovision is not kicking Israel out of the contest. Yeah, I know that breaks your heart just like it broke mine. Spain, Ireland, and Slovenia won't be there. I don't think anybody really cares. I mean, this is the only thing I found on. There wasn't some big news like, oh my gosh, Spain, Ireland, and Slovenia pull out of Eurovision. What are we going to do? We got to cancel it now because they're not there. Nope. Nobody cares. Nobody batting an eye. It's going on like it should. And these losers are only punishing their artists to prove a point. And the point they're proving is they're stupid. It's getting ridiculous. Like I said, you've got these fools along with these fools, and they're not hurting anybody except the people in their own country. Like, I don't think people have practiced and done what they wanted to do to get ready for Eurovision just to have some spineless politician. Well, we're not going to go because the Jews are bad. They're attacking Palestine. Yeah. It's at this point, it's ridiculous, and people better start waking up because they're coming for everybody. They're coming for everyone. They're coming for the Christians, and now they're coming for the Jews. But y'all just keep ignoring that. Like I said, keep thinking it's a Jewish problem. Ignore this, that they're now attacking Christmas in the public and putting Palestine above the birth of Christ. It's okay, though, because once they're done with the Jews, they're going to stop. They're not going to come after anybody else. I'm telling you, these people are horrible human beings. And it's not going to stop. 1 second. Here we go. Okay. This is kind of funny. Tim Walt says people are driving by his house calling him retarded now. I don't know if that's true or not. I mean, I haven't met an honest liberal in my life. They all embellish and make things up. According to him, people are driving by his house and screaming at the window, yelling retarded. I don't know. And you know what? I don't care. Nobody should care. He wants to make it all so important. They're calling me retarded. Nobody cares, Timmy. Nobody cares. I mean, you put tampons in boys' bathrooms. What do you think people are going to call you? I mean, I have another word I'd call you, but retarded seems to cover it. Mentally ill, stupid, mouth breather, knuckle dragger, inbred. I mean, all those things would fit with your low intelligence. But yeah, apparently he's upset now that they're driving by his home and yelling retard at him. I would love to see like videos if that's truly happening. He should post videos of these people driving retarded. I mean, the only reason they're doing this is because he made such a big deal about it. He was crying and whining and went on TV and listen to what Trump said. If he just let it go, not said a word about it, this would not be happening. He did this to himself. This is a self-inflicted wound that he's going to play out like he's a victim. Like, look at me, they're all picking on me now. No, dude, they're picking on you because you put tampons in the boys' restroom. That's how you became famous or infamous, however you want to look at it. So yeah, he's living with that now, and his state is falling apart. Fraud, like billions of dollars worth of fraud. Who else knows what else is going on there? But his main concern is people calling him retarded. And like again, I don't believe this at all. I don't believe people are driving by his house and yelling retarded. I don't. He's not that important. I mean, he's a moron. And in case you forgot today is December 7th, which is Pearl Harbor Day. Back on December 7th, 1941 at 7:55 in the morning, the Japanese launched a surprise attack and almost crippled the Pacific Fleet. As you can see, it was a day that'll live in infamy. And you can see by my hat, it's an important day for me and every other sailor. I think this is the first time they've celebrated Pearl Harbor, or not celebrated, had a memorial for it, and there were no survivors from Pearl Harbor there. I think I read that somewhere, which is kind of sad, but hey, it happens. Time passes, people go. I hope they don't forget about it. But I don't want to call it a monologue. I don't want to call it an opinion. I just wrote something about this because it was important to me. Excuse me. December 7th, 1941, a quiet Sunday morning in paradise turned to hell at 7:55 a.m. Without warning, Japanese carrier planes screamed over Pearl Harbor and hammered Battleship Row. Torpedoes ripped into hulls, bombs walked across decks, and within minutes, the pride of the Pacific Fleet was burning or sinking. The Arizona blew apart in a single cataclysmic blast, taking 1,177 men with her in seconds. By the time the last plane turned for home, 2,403 Americans were dead, another 1,178 wounded, and America's sense of invulnerability was gone forever. The next day, FDR called it a date which will live in infamy, and he was right, but he left out the rest. It also became the date America decided to win at all costs. The boys who crawled out of the oil-soaked water that morning, some barely old enough to shave, would go on to raise the flag on Iwo Jima, storm Normandy, and end the war in Tokyo Bay. The nation that wanted no part of another European fight built the greatest arsenal the world has ever seen and liberated half the planet. Today, the Arizona still lies where she fell, her rusted bones cradling her crew. Oil still seeps from her tanks. Sailors call that black tears, a slow, steady reminder that freedom has never been free. So on this December 7th, fly your flag, but pause for a moment and say thank you to the men who never made it off Ford Island and to the ones who came home quiet and kept the promise anyway. We remember, we always will. December 7th is got us involved in a war, like I've said, that we didn't want to be involved in anymore. World War I was enough for us. We thought we were done. The Japanese drug us back in and we kicked ass. It was unfortunate that we had to get back involved. It was unfortunate that the Japanese just couldn't leave us alone. But they killed a couple thousand of our sailors and we kicked their ass in World War II. So I call it kind of even. But that's a picture of the USS Arizona with the memorial over it. I don't know if you've ever been there, but it's emotional. It's very, very stirring. I've never been able to go. I've talked to people who've been there. I'd like to go one day before I die. But that's it. Don't ever forget that December 7th. Like I said, you don't have to do something big. Just a moment of pause would be appropriate at this time, on this day. Little nod, little thank you, and then go back about your business. That's all it requires. Nothing big, nothing major. But it happened today, December 7th, 1941, at 7:55 in the morning. Camera's weird. Something wrong with my camera. There we go. So, no, it's still too low. There we go. That's better. So that's breaking and interesting. Like I said, some of it's not breaking. Some of it you knew about. It's just stuff that stuck with me. And like I said, some of it's a warning. This was right here, a warning to everybody in America right here. They're not going to stop with the Jews. They're harassing Christians now at a Christmas tree lighting. I'm telling you, you let the anti-Semitic people do and say what they want to say. Now they feel like they're unstoppable and they're going to come for everybody. You were warned. Got to take a stand. Don't have to be violent, but you got to take a stand. If you're at like a ceremony like that and people start chanting, tell them to shut up. Tell them to shut up. Or start singing a song louder than they're chanting. Stand in front of them so nobody can see them. But we got to take a stand. We can't let this stuff just keep going because they're not going to stop on their own. And that's the sad truth. I spent enough time on those inbred mouth breathers. Oh, excuse me. So here, we get to the first segment. It's pretty much just about crime. We talked about this Wednesday night. Going to talk about it some more because it's getting out of hand. It's every time you turn around, people think it's okay to break the law because their feelings are being hurt by it. Or they don't, emotionally, it's mean. That's why Lady Justice wears a blindfold. It doesn't matter who you are. The law is the law. Doesn't matter if you like him or you don't like him. Doesn't matter if you're nice or mean. You break the law, you're held accountable. That's how it should be. Is it 100%? No. There are people who get away with stuff every day of the week, and that's not right. But people we can catch and hold accountable, we should, regardless of what you feel about it. The law is the law. It's that simple. Would you be willing to let speeders go because, they might lose their ability to drive and how they're going to feed their family? That's horrible, but it's simple. If you obey the law, you don't have to worry about it. Same thing with immigration. These people have had decades to get right with the law, decades to start the process, and they've chosen not to. Now, granted, they've chosen not to because clergymen and other liberals have told them, don't do it. You don't have to. You can stay. You don't have to worry about it. The blood is on their hands. Rather than go, hey, look, the law may suck. I agree with you, but we have to follow it. So let us help you become a citizen. Let's start that process and we'll walk with you the whole entire way. No, they didn't do that. They told them to disobey the law, ignore the laws of this land, and do what they wanted to do because they can do that. So it's their fault as well as the people who stayed. All you have to do is fill out a form. I know it's expensive. I know it's time consuming, but it's supposed to be. Becoming a citizen of this country should not be easy. It also shouldn't be unnecessarily dramatic, but it should be easy. But thank you, liberals and holy people, and I use that term very loosely, holy people who told everybody who came here illegally, it's okay, don't worry about it. Don't ignore our laws. Do what feels right. It's your fault. You're to blame. The blood is on your hands. The people who died trying to get into our country, crossing that desert, people who were smuggled in and then sold into sex slavery by the people that brought them over here. It's all on you. You're to blame for this. And so the companies that hire these people, you're to blame for that too. You're just as guilty as the people who did that. This is about Trump. He wins again in court. The efforts of the National Guard out of D.C. were thwarted. The court said, nope, they can stay. I don't understand why people don't want them there. Crime is down. You have more law enforcement on the street, and they're not hassling anybody unless you break the law. They're not just walking down the street tackling people who are walking to work or out to eat with their family. They're not messing with anybody. They're enforcing the law and getting people who broke the law and illegal immigrants. I don't understand the problem with that. Again, these are just people who don't like the law to begin with. So they don't think anything should be enforced. Everybody should just do what they want to do. It should be like a free-for-all. Come and go as you please and do what you want. It's not how society works. There's no society where laws aren't enforced. There are some societies where laws are enforced heavy-handedly, and there are some societies where laws are enforced sporadically. But every society has had law and had law enforcement and punishment for breaking those laws. I don't know why all these morons all of a sudden think, oh my God, we're the first country in the world to enforce laws. No. Since recorded history, there's been laws. Either the laws of God, the laws of man, et cetera, et cetera. But there have been laws that had to have been followed. You have no choice. You are required to follow law or face the punishment. Doesn't, like I said, Lady Justice doesn't take your feelings into consideration. Doesn't matter who you are. She's blindfolded for a reason. The law is the law. So, yep, National Guard can stay in D.C. And that's and I can understand why some people are apprehensive. I mean, the two National Guards people, I'll talk about that later, that were shot and one was killed. That's horrible. But that's not anybody else's fault except the shooters. That low-life, subhuman toilet bug that killed those people, he's to blame. He pulled the trigger. He killed the lady, the female guardsman, and wounded the Air Force Staff Sergeant. Nobody else. It's not Trump's fault. It's not anybody else's fault except the person who shot him. And that's the problem liberals have. They can't separate fantasy from reality. They refuse to see things as they are. Normal people with an IQ above a houseplant understand that the person to blame is the person that shot them. End of discussion. Liberals, with their mental illness, blame everybody else but the shooter. It's the president's fault. It's MAGA's fault. It's Republicans' fault. It's white people's fault. It's blah, blah, blah. Not once do they mention the shooter because their brains can't conceive the reality. I think reality causes them physical pain. I think that's why they stay away from it. I think when they see things as they really are, it hurts because their brain can't accept it because they've lived in such a fantasy world for so long. Reality is painful. It's almost to the point where I feel sorry for them. And not sorry like, oh my gosh, like pity. I feel pity for them. That they just don't understand how out of touch they are. So yeah, the court said they can stay. That's great. I don't see police officers complaining about it. I think they've been newscasts where people talk to people on the street and nobody's complained about the National Guard being there. And then you read, if you go online and look at the news, 50% of people in D.C. don't want the Guard there. Where are these 50% of the people? Do they avoid cameras and only talk to you? Come on. It's not like that. They're augmenting the police force, and that's all they're doing. I don't even think they have power of arrest. I haven't read anywhere where they've given the power of arrest to the National Guard, which they can't because it's posse comitatus. The military can't enforce civil law. So I don't think they have arrest powers. I could be wrong, but everything I've read, I haven't seen any mention of arrest powers for the National Guard, which is, I think, why they go with D.C. Metropolitan Police. I think they travel together for that very reason, so they can support the police officers during an arrest. But I don't think they can arrest by themselves anybody. Which would make sense again. We don't want the military out there enforcing civilian law, and they can't. Like I said, there's posse comitatus, which is Latin. You can look it up. I'm not making it up. And don't ask me to spell it. It's posse comitatus. President Trump gave out the Kennedy Honors Award this week. Let me see. I got notes here. Where do I have this? One second. I have notes. See, I think I put them in order, and then I go to look for them, and guess what? They're not in order. They're not anywhere I put them, which is just how things go. But he gave out those awards, and you can see some of the people he gave them to, which is, I think, is pretty neat. You got Kiss, who got some or got awarded some of the awards. I'm going to find it. Bear with me one second. George Strait, Michael Crawford, Gloria Gaynor, Sylvester Stallone, and all the members of KISS were presented the Kennedy Center Honors Medal by President Trump. Each of you has made an incredible mark on American life, and together you have defined entire genres and set new standards for the performing arts. So that's pretty cool. I mean, if you like those, I think KISS is weird, but doesn't mean they haven't done some crazy things. I've always liked Sylvester Stallone. I mean, his big thing was Rocky. That kind of changed everything. I think that was the first time like the hero of a movie lost, got beaten. George Strait has always been a good country music singer if you like country music. I myself am not a fan. There are some country songs I like, but I am not like a country music fan. But I congratulate him, Michael Crawford, and Gloria Gaynor. I think that's all the people who received the awards. That's an achievement. I mean, that's what they do for a living. And to be recognized by the president is, regardless of what you think is going on, that's the president of the most powerful country in the world talking about how great you are to the public. That's got to be very humbling. It's got to be pretty impressive to have that done. Again, that goes back to liberals who probably, it's ridiculous. I wouldn't accept an award from him. Then you're an idiot. If you've worked all your life and this is the recognition you deserve, you're not going to get it because it's from President Trump. You're a moron. You are truly a moron. This has nothing to do with politics. This has nothing to do with whether you agree with him or not. He's not even talking about politics. He's talking about you and what you've accomplished. And it's an honor. And you should be proud of what you've done. Again, liberals are mentally ill. They are mentally ill. So they got their award. I think that's what the award is on Gene Simmons, the medallion. I don't know why he's wearing sunglasses inside, but hey, it's Gene Simmons. He can do pretty much anything he wants to because he's Gene Simmons and he was in KISS. So there you are again. It was George Strait, Michael Crawford, Gloria Gaynor, Sylvester Stallone, and all the members of KISS were presented with the Kennedy Center Honors Medal by President Trump. So congratulations to that group of people. You should be proud of your accomplishment and wish you many more years. Speaking of awards, President Trump was awarded the first ever, or the inaugural FIFA. Is that the soccer? Isn't that the soccer group that does that? He got it when they were doing the pick for the World Cup. Everybody said, "Oh, it's the Timu Nobel Peace Prize." Everybody's laughing at him. You know what? Who cares? Really, who cares? If he lives in your head that much that you have to ridicule everything that happens to him, and you have to make a joke of it, go online and spew out your verbal diarrhea to other morons who listen to you and have him living in their head rent-free just like you do, so you all can sit around and laugh at him, you really need to get a life. I didn't like Trump. I mean, I didn't like Biden. Didn't like him at all. But he was the president of the U.S., and as much as I didn't like the man, I didn't want to see him fail. Because if he failed, the country failed. And if the country failed, I failed. So I wanted him to do good at whatever he did. I didn't like him. I wouldn't support him, but I never wished ill or wanted him to fail. And I don't think anybody in their right mind would want the president of their country to fail for the reasons I just told you. He is like the pilot of your plane, and I'm sure you've seen this before. He's a pilot of your plane. Why would you want him to crash? Just so everybody knows he's bad. You're going to die to prove a point. So I'm happy for President Trump. I don't care what people think about the award. He won an award that they'll never win. I don't care for what reasons. He got an award. Hell, Obama won the Nobel Peace Prize for doing absolutely nothing. Nothing. He just got it because he was there. And they all applauded that. Talking about a consolation prize or a participation trophy. That's a participation trophy. You did nothing and got an award. And people applauded that. So I don't care what they say about him getting this. It's great. I'm sure he was very honored. He looks very happy. That's great. Had Biden won this, I might have laughed at it and said, what did you do to earn it? But I would not have said, oh, he doesn't deserve it. He's the president of the U.S. You want him to succeed, no matter who it is, because he's a leader of our country. You don't have to support it. Don't have to vote for him. But once he's in office, you have to hope he does well, because that will help everybody in the country. And I think a lot of liberals don't see it that way because, again, the way they process reality is different than you or I. They don't see things straight. Everything to them is skewed and twisted and bizarre and crazy. Kind of like a Dali picture with everything melting and crazy things going on. Salvatore Dali picture, just like that. That's how I imagine they see things. Just bizarre. That'd be crazy. Again, with Trump, and correct me if I'm wrong, and I could be wrong, I don't remember a president ever talking about Jesus and Christmas openly like this. Now, I could be wrong. Again, I'm not an expert, but he said, with the birth of Jesus, human history turned from night to day. His word and his example calls all to love one another and to serve one another. I don't remember a president mentioning Jesus' name. And again, if I'm wrong, put it in the chat. That's fine. Here, I'll start the chat off so everybody knows it's there. Let me cancel that before I shut this down. This is me. There you go. Oh, man, I can't spell. So there you go. That's me. If there's another president that has said that, please let me know, because honestly, I don't recall. I could be, like, again, it's possible I'm wrong, but he said that, and I think that's great. There are people who don't think Christmas is about Jesus, and there's people who do. It goes back to what we talked about on Wednesday. Telling somebody Merry Christmas is offensive to some people. You know what? I don't care. If the holiday's Christmas, Merry Christmas. If you don't celebrate it, just say thank you. You don't have to get offended and bent out of shape. If him talking about Jesus offends you, you don't have to listen. Once you hear the word, the birth of Jesus, turn the channel or walk away. You don't have to get all bent out of shape and start giving other people who agree with them a hard time. What is the point of that? What pleasure do you derive out of accosting people who believe in Jesus and think and believe Christmas celebrates his birth? What do you get out of it by making fun of them or ridiculing them or insulting them? I don't understand that. I don't agree with some other holidays, but I don't go out of my way to tell the people who celebrate them that they're wrong. Live and let live. As long as what you're doing doesn't affect me or my family, I don't care what you do in your house. I don't care. Don't care what holidays you celebrate as long as they don't hurt other people. I don't care. And I expect the same in return. If you don't like what I'm doing and it's not bothering you, shut up. I didn't ask for your opinion. I don't want your opinion. Move on. If I say Merry Christmas and then offend you, don't say a word. Just keep walking. That's all you got to do. Because I'm not going out of my way to offend anybody. I don't think anybody who tells somebody Merry Christmas is trying to offend you. Or if they say Happy Hanukkah, I don't think they're trying to offend you. I think that's just a holiday they celebrate, and they just want everybody to be happy. Like, hey, Happy Hanukkah. And if you don't celebrate Hanukkah, go, okay, just say thank you and go on. Same thing with Christmas. You don't celebrate Christmas, just say thank you and go on. No harm, no foul. Them saying that to you doesn't cause you pain or doesn't make your arms break or blood squirt out of your ears. It's like saying, hey, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah. If that offends you, the end of this show is really going to offend you. I'm probably going to get nasty emails. But yeah, just live and let live. And that's the whole thing behind conservatism. We want smaller government. We want the government to stay out of our lives. We want to be able to live our lives the way we want to and not affect anybody else. We don't want to bother anybody else, just like we don't want to be bothered by anybody else. As long as what you do doesn't affect other people or your community, have at it. And that's where I had the problem with Islam. And I know I'm kind of going off on a tangent, but that's where my problem lies with them. They affect everybody around them. They just can't leave it alone. They have to come at everybody who doesn't believe in what they believe in. And they get violent. That's my problem with Islam. But yeah, but if someone wishes you Merry Christmas, please just smile and go about your business. Or say it back to them. You don't have to get shitty with people. You don't have to get nasty because someone says Happy Hanukkah and you're not Jewish. Or you don't have to get nasty because somebody says Merry Christmas and you're not Christian. Move on. I don't know why people look for reasons to be upset and angry and miserable. There's enough that goes on in this world organically that will make you miserable and upset. Why go out of your way to find things or take things and to intake things in a fashion that will make you upset? Why? That's a loser. That would make people a loser. That makes you a loser. That's what you do. Like I made me said Merry Christmas. That son of a bitch. I'm going to give him a piece of my dude. Nobody cares. By the time you get ready to say something, that person's probably already walked away and already gone. And there you are, angry as hell because someone said Happy Hanukkah or Merry Christmas to you, waiting to blow up on somebody. That's like drinking poison and then waiting for another person to die. Dude, don't be angry. Just go on. Dude, dudette, chick, man, whatever. It's just like a greeting or a farewell. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy New Year. Take it for what it is. Someone trying to be polite. That's it. You know, been out of shape because someone takes time out of their day to say, hey, how are you? Or Merry Christmas. People are just crazy and getting crazy.
America's Pulse Network. The mainstream media is bought and paid for. The truth is twisted to fit their agenda. But America is waking up because podcasts are the future for trusted media. Welcome to the America's Pulse Network. It is a network built by patriots that upholds the Constitution. The America's Pulse Network stands for God, truth, and the America First movement. There is no corporate propaganda, no government spin, just real news, real talk, and real voices fighting for faith, freedom, and the future of this great nation with common sense. Here are some of America's Pulse Network podcasts. Alexandra Levine Live, hosted by Alexandra Levine. Jersey Shore Podcast, hosted by Damon Galdo. The Conservative Corner, hosted by Seth Eisenberg. APN's The Pulse, hosted by Alexandra, Damon, Elena, and Seth. So tune into America's Pulse Network on the following social media platforms: X/Twitter, Rumble, Truth Social, Parler, Facebook, and YouTube. Join the revolution. Because the pulse of America beats for God and country. America's Pulse Network is for faith, family, freedom, and truth.
So, yep, that's all the places we're on. And I'm not going to go through them again because I forgot them. I know we're on X, we're on Rumble, we're on Parler, Truth Social, I think Facebook, and some other places. But I always say Rumble or X on America Pulse Network page. You can see us there. All those shows you can see there. Alexander's shows you can see on there. Damon the Hammer, you can see his shows on there. You can see my show on there. You can see the Pulse every Wednesday at 8 on there. On both of those, Rumble or X. So yeah. And again, like, follow, and share the podcasts, the Hammers, Alexander's, mine, the Pulse. Share them with everybody. The more we get out there, the bigger our voice comes. They can't ignore us anymore. They have to start listening to us. And also keep in mind that when we do these podcasts, we're not trying to change your mind. We're not trying to force our opinion on you and have you just go, yes, I agree with you 100%. You are all right. No, we just want you to think. We're just offering another perspective, another viewpoint, and then you can do with that as you will. Just like I do when I read my opinion at the end of the show. You don't have to agree with it. You don't have to like it. You can tell me to kick rocks. I'm just letting you know how I feel. Same thing with the regular podcast. I'm just letting you know how I feel. And if you agree with it, that's great. If you don't agree with it, that's great. And that goes for all the podcasters. They're not there. We're not here trying to change your way of thought. You are who you are, and you either agree with us or you don't, and that's fine. Again, that's why we have the chat. If I say something you don't agree with, put it up there, and I will try to get to it. Sometimes I get caught up in something, and I don't look over on the side, but 9 times out of 10, I'll see it, and if I don't see it right away, I'll get to it. But yeah, those are the websites, podcasts. Make sure you check us all out. Check them all out, and watch us on Wednesdays. It's fun. Wednesdays is probably the one of the best because it's all of us together and we all get to share our opinions on different topics. The podcast is just getting one person. You're getting one school of thought. At least on the Pulse, you're getting 3, 4, 5 different thoughts from different people, which is always good. And we always don't agree. Elena Barbera, who's on there, the based mother, we have disagreed on a few things, which makes it interesting, but she's a smart lady and it's not personal, so I don't get upset. She also does kind of keep everything under control. She's kind of like a den mother. At least keeps me in line, which is a full-time job in itself. but she does. And I enjoy having her on the show. We used to have Tim Fazenbaker on the show. Apparently he'll be coming back soon, but he's been running for Baltimore County Council where he lives. I can't remember what, District 5 or something. I can't remember. But he's a great guy, smart guy. Can't wait till he comes back, and I wish him the best. Hope he wins this election. Another good guy. But yeah, the Pulse is probably one of the better ones because we're all together giving our viewpoints and sharing our opinions, which is always fun. Especially when you get 4 or 5 smart people in the same room and ask them the same question. You're going to get 5 different responses, which is always fun. But yeah, so that's Wednesdays at 8. So jumping right into the next segment, DHS has cut maximum immigrant work permit period from 5 years to 18 months, which is incredible. I think that's great. And why do I think that's great? Because now companies are going to have to start looking to hire Americans and stop bringing people in from overseas because they're only going to be able to here for a year and a half, and then they got to do the whole process again. That is great. Let's start hiring Americans to do jobs in America. Let's stop sending jobs overseas that can be done in America. I hate when I call an American company, and I'll say it, Comcast. When I call Comcast to have an issue, I get transferred overseas to somebody who I can't understand, and they probably can't understand me. And then we got to go back and forth over stupid stuff. Hire Americans. If it's an American company, hire Americans. I think if you transfer your jobs overseas to have it done by foreigners when it can be done by Americans, you should have to pay a higher tax. You should have to apply for permits and have fees to pay. And those fees and taxes and permits you won't need if you hire Americans. I think that's how it should be. I am tired of corporations feeling because they make so much money they can do what they want to do and hire people from outside of the country. That is not a liberal school of thought. That's conservative. Keep it in the country. Small. We don't need to be worldwide. Employ Americans first. Offer the jobs to Americans first. If it can't be filled by Americans, then yes, you can start looking elsewhere. But keep in mind now, you're not going to keep those people for 5 years. They could be here for a year and a half, and you got to start the process over again. And I hope that's expensive. I really don't see a problem with that. I know people are going to complain, well, it's not fair. These people have a right to work. Yes, they do in their country. They have every right to have a job in their country. And if they can't find work in their country, maybe they need to start working on their own country to make it better rather than punishing us by taking jobs away from Americans in their country. And again, I'm sure I'm going to upset people with that, and I don't care. Americans first. That's the way it should be. There's no other country in the world that would do this. Like, oh, we have jobs here, but let's send them over to let the Americans do them. Let them get paid. No. I don't. It's like what other country in the world collects tax dollars from its people to send to us? Nobody. But here we are, subsidizing other countries' GDP, their military, what else we subsidize? Their food, their power. Here we are, the world's goodwill, and we get nothing out of it except insulted and attacked and ridiculed. I'm not an isolationist, but I understand why it's not a bad idea. It may be for a couple of years, shut everything down, stop giving everything away to everybody else in the world, take care of our country, focus on the U.S. for 5 or 6 years, get our house in order, then start slowly doing more, global things. I bet you if we did that, the rest of the world would fall apart. And again, that's not our problem. It's not our problem. We need to stop making it our problem. These countries have been around a lot. Most countries have been around a lot longer than we have. Figure things out on your own. We're done being Dr. Phil for the world. Figure out your own problems. Deal with them yourself. I just think it's not right anymore. We need to start taking care of our own people. And I've always felt that way, especially vets. And I'm going to kind of get to that here in a little bit. But vets, I'll get into that in a little bit. Here's this moron, Arizona Congresswoman, who says she was sprayed by ICE agents while she was trying to talk to protesters, which is incorrect. There was I don't want to call it a riot, but there's a large group of protesters along with her who who were trying to talk to people who were involved in a raid being hauled off by ICE ICE told them to back up. They're trying to do the job. Interference with a law enforcement officer in legal duty is a crime. Warned them to back off. She was in the crowd, and they all got sprayed. Again, this goes back to liberals being mentally ill. They don't understand reality. They don't know how to accept reality. So in her mind, she was standing there by herself reading the Bible to blind children who happened to be children of illegal immigrants, trying to feed them. And 35 ICE agents rushed out of a van, tackled her, and like doused her in mace, and then ran away. That's how she probably saw it in her head. The reality is she was in a group of protesters being told to disperse by ICE while they were trying to effect arrests. They chose not to, so ICE used less than lethal methods to disperse the crowd that she was in, and she got maced. That's what happened. Not her, I was pepper sprayed. Her, specifically, I got pepper sprayed by ICE during a protest. That's not what happened, lady, and shut up. I mean, I know other liberals will believe you because they believe anything. But anybody that, again, has an IQ above a houseplant will understand that's not what happened. All you got to do is read the article. There was a protest, large group of people disobeying a lawful order, and they were dispersed. She happened to be one of the morons in that large group that was not listening to law enforcement and got dispersed. Mace doesn't kill you. It doesn't. It hurts. Snot from your nose to your toes. Your eyes are watering and they burn. You're coughing. You might puke, but it doesn't kill you. It's temporary. Pain is temporary. Pride is forever. Walk away. You're told to disperse. You leave. And if you don't, and this happens to you, I don't feel sorry for you. I don't care what you're doing there. The minute you're told to leave, and it's a lawful thing going on, they're doing a raid and they're arresting people and bringing them out to put them into transportation to get them out of there, legal, and you're told to leave. You need to leave. Or at least back up to where they tell you to back up. What's it, 25 feet you can stay with? Something like that. And I'm almost 100% sure they were not 25 feet away from the ICE agents or their vehicles. So what happened to them, again, is a self-inflicted wound. I mean, I don't, Republican, I can't even, Gurvala, Grijalva. Hervala, I don't even know, don't even care. You're an idiot and you're a liar. You knew it was going to happen when you got involved with the protest. You knew it was going to happen when ICE and the law enforcement on scene told you to back off and nobody did. You knew it was going to happen when they pulled out their mace canisters. You knew it was going to happen and you stayed there because now you want to play the victim for the other knuckle draggers that'll believe you were the victim, that think ICE is evil and the police are evil and enforcing laws, again, like I said earlier, is wrong. This is a typical liberal for you. Right there. And she'll get reelected for this stunt she pulled. She'll probably be on the news, I would say, the next couple of days talking about lingering effects. You know, my face is numb. My eyes constantly water now. I don't know how it was so frightening. I couldn't see. It's going to be some, like that one other idiot congressman in the courthouse where they threw him on the ground and arrested him because he wouldn't leave after he was told. They arrested him. He was crying on the floor. You know, what's funny is these Congress people, these politicians think that they're untouchable, that they can do whatever they want to do and no one can touch them. You can't arrest me. Like when they go to these ICE detention centers, I demand to be let in. No. And they close the door on them. They're like, well, you can't tell me no. Yes. You're a public servant. You're nobody important. You are paid by the taxpayer. You are there to voice our will and do as we ask. That's it. You don't get special privileges for that. You don't get to demand entrance because you're a member of Congress. Nobody cares. It doesn't impress anybody anymore. It never should have impressed anybody. So I'm glad that things are starting to turn when it comes to that people are no longer, that people are starting to stop looking at politicians as superheroes or gods or people we need to fear and give special privileges to because they have Congress or senator after their name. Don't care. And neither should you. These people are not special. They get dressed the same way you and I do. They put their pants on the same way you and I do. They go to work like you and I do. They got to try to feed their family. Of course, they make a lot more money for you, a lot less work. But they go to work just like everybody else. And I'm tired of hearing people, well, politicians know best. No, they're the reason the world's in the state that it's in because we've let politicians run the show. That's why I think they don't like Trump because he's not really a politician. He's a businessman. He runs it like a business. They don't like that. They don't like the ICE because ICE doesn't care who you are. We told you to move. You're not moving, they mace you. I'm a congressman. Well, great. This will burn you just like it burns a construction worker. Here you go. Days of special privileges are coming to an end, and that's great. That is great. In some countries, politicians are looked down on. They're not revered. They're not held in awe. They're not omnipotent. They are treated like public servants. You wanted to do this job. We elected you to do this job. Now we're going to hold you to it. They get treated like crap. And that's how, you shouldn't treat anybody like crap. But let's make it clear. We shouldn't treat politicians the way we treat politicians. It's not a blank check to do whatever you want to do. They are, at the end of the day, a public servant. The Supreme Court of the U.S. is set to do some rulings. Where is it? I have notes again. There we go. No, why does it keep showing? I've got a note here and I can see it, but it's not bringing it up. And there we go. The U.S. Supreme Court in Washington, D.C. is set to rule on some orders. They say that the lower courts have ruled Trump order violates U.S. constitutions. They're talking about birthright. They're going to rule on that and decide whether or not simply being born in this country of parents who are not citizens of this country makes you a citizen. I don't think it should. I've never agreed with that. Because I read somewhere once before people used to take pregnancy vacations from other countries here to have their baby so that they would be American citizens and they could stay here. That's not how it should work. Your parents should have to be American citizens. And if your parents aren't American citizens, sorry about your luck, but you're not an American citizen either. I don't know what to tell you. And it's kind of narcissistic to think if I'm born here, I'm a citizen. And that's simply your only attachment to the country is you're born here. No one in your family is an American citizen. Nobody else in your family was born here before you. No, that doesn't make you an American citizen. That's like if I walk into a bank before everybody else and put my hand on the counter, all the money's mine because I was here first. Your account's mine because I was here and you weren't. No, you have to have some ties, some blood, some skin in the game. And simply being born here doesn't fulfill those obligations. So I hope the Supreme Court rules and says, no, that does not make, there's more to it than being an American citizen, and it involves more than simply being born here. I don't have an opinion on which way they're going to go because sometimes they've gone the opposite way of what I thought they would say, and other times they've gone the way I thought they would. I think, and I'm saying like 60-40, that they're going to side with President Trump and say that it's not legal because it's a 19th century constitutional provision. It's not even recent. So it would be nice if they said, no, there's more to being an American citizen than just being born here. Again, I'm not trying to read their minds, or I wouldn't bet. I know it's a 50-50 shot, but I wouldn't bet because, again, I've been surprised both ways by the justices. So, but like I said, I would like to see them vote that, yes, that is not legal. You have to do more than be born here to be an American citizen. But I guess we'll find out soon enough. Or at least we'll find out when they rule. And I don't know when they're going to rule. It doesn't say. Oh, no, it said they agreed on Friday to decide. Maybe that means they're going to hear the case. But I'll keep you updated about that once I hear what's going on. What do you all think? Do you think just being born here should be enough to make you an American citizen? Or do you think it should involve more than just where you're born? Like I do. I think it should involve more. Yeah, it should. There's got to be, like I said, you got to have some ties to the country. You got to have something that binds you to this country. Being born here isn't enough. But again, like I said, maybe we'll find out before the summertime, or I don't know if they're in winter break or recess. I don't know. But as soon as we get a ruling, I will definitely let you all know because I'm very curious about this one too. It would be neat if that did not happen, or if that did happen, they ruled in favor of Trump. I'm sure that would upset this lady. If they agree with Trump, she would probably go out and become involved in another protest and get maced, and again play the victim, even though she's where she shouldn't be. Fucking liberals. I don't. When I read these things and I think to myself, you're an intelligent person. You can understand this. You see these for what they are. You're not looking any further into. You're like, oh, this means this. They're really trying to say that. I think that's how liberals look at things. Like they would look at that article about the summary of the Supreme Court to hear about birthright citizenship, and they would say, oh, it's racist. Trump's a racist. He's just trying to hold minorities down. This is not about any one race. This is about anybody that comes to this country and has a child while they're visiting or whatever. It doesn't make their child a citizen. It doesn't say specific Latinos or Asians or Europeans. It says nothing about who. It just says, he just says that you just having birthing your child in this country does not make your child a citizen. It's a blanket statement. He's not signaling out any one person or any one race, but liberals would see it that way. He's being a racist. That's racist. It's not. I don't think any other country in the world, and I'll have to look into that, but I don't think any other country in the world grants you citizenship just because you're born there. And again, I could be wrong. I'm not really worried about other countries. I'm worried about my country because this is where I live. This is where I pay taxes. This is where my house is. It's where I raise my family. So I really, at the end of the day, I don't care what Czechoslovakia does about this or what Germany or Italy does. It doesn't affect me. I would just like to know for my own personal edification, but in general, I don't care. I would just like to know if we're the only country that allows this or other countries do. Now, I want to go back to one thing and talk about it a little bit more because it's really stuck in my craw. We'll talk about this. People who are supporting Palestine and Muslims and Islam. I just want to read something I found about Sharia law. Everybody's all for it. We should have Sharia law. Sharia law courts are good. I just want to read some of the laws in Sharia and their punishments. Theft is punishable by amputation of the hands. The Quran 5:38. Criticizing or denying any part of the Quran is punishable by death. Criticizing Muhammad or denying that he is a prophet, punishable by death. Criticizing or denying Allah is punishable by death. A Muslim who becomes a non-Muslim, punishable by death. Do you see the theme here? A non-Muslim who leads a Muslim away from Islam, punishable by death. A non-Muslim man who marries a Muslim woman, punishable by death, I guess for both people. Homosexuality is punishable by death, but sodomizing boys is fine. I think that's something I'll have to look into. Girls' clitorises should be cut. Muhammad's words, book 14, Kibaba al-Abad, Hadith 52-51. A woman or girl who has been raped cannot testify in court against her rapist. Testimonies of 4 male witnesses are required to prove rape of a female. A woman or girl who has been raped cannot testify in court against her rapist. I've already said that, I'm sorry. A woman or girl found guilty of adultery, punishable by death. A male convicted of rape can have his conviction dismissed by marrying his victim. That's romantic. Muslim men have sexual rights to any woman or girl not wearing the hijab. Women can have one husband who can have up to 4 wives. A man can beat his wife for insubordination, Quran 4:34. A man can unilaterally divorce his wife. A wife needs her husband's consent to divorce. A divorced wife loses custody of all children over 6 years of age or when they exceed that. A woman's testimony in court allowed in property cases carries 1/2 the weight of a man's. A female heir inherits half of what a male inherits. A woman cannot speak alone to a man who is not her husband or relative. And it goes on and on and on and on. So that's some of the Sharia law. And that's what people are fighting for. That's what people are saying is okay. There's nothing wrong with it. Muslims are saying they want to bring into this country as they attack Christian holidays now. Sounds like a really fun time. Can't wait. Be right back.
Welcome to America's Pulse Network. This is APN's very own White House correspondent, Alexandra Levine.
This is so amazing and miraculous. We've never had a president in the history of our nation doing this. And we hope to God that he continues doing this forever and ever. Thank you. God bless you, everybody. And God bless President Trump.
And God bless you.
Hello, everyone. This is Alexandra Levine with the America's Pulse Network. I am the White House correspondent right here in the heart of D.C. as President Trump is celebrating 250 years of America and the military.
Subscribe and follow America's Pulse Network on the above social medias.
So yeah, follow us on those media. Like again, I can't remember them all. I just stick with X and Rumble. We're on that America's Pulse Network on both of those. Make sure you like, subscribe, and follow us. Share this podcast and all the other podcasts with everybody you know. Post them on your pages. You know the drill. Smash that like button like as many times as you can and share. That was Alexandra. She's the White House correspondent. She gets to go to all those hoity-toity, bougie things down in D.C. I've never gone, so I don't know what they're like. I'm sure they're fun. I'm sure they're maybe fun's not the word. Interesting. I'm sure they're interesting at the very least. So she gets to go to all those and do the things down there that they do, like ballroom dancing or whatever. Then we have Damon the Hammer, who has his shows and his radio show. He has a radio show too, which is pretty cool. I called in on that Thursday, I believe, Thursday or Friday. I called in and spoke for a little while. It's pretty neat. Radio's cool. I like it. He has a good show, good program. Then we have Damon Sherrod behind the scenes, who's making sure everything runs smooth and no hiccups, no glitches. The puppet master. That's what he does. Make sure we all look good. And for me, that's a full-time job. I'm sure it keeps him very busy for the hour and a half-ish that I'm on. I'm sure it's very stressful and shoots up his blood pressure. So the next segment's pretty much just lots of stuff I threw together that I thought was interesting and neat. The first one is, of course, I kind of talked about it earlier, Staff Sergeant Andrew Wolf, who was shot by that animal and survived, is apparently doing much better. I read somewhere he's opening up his eyes now. I don't know if they didn't say much about talking or moving, but he's conscious apparently, which is good. Apparently it was touch and go for a while, but now he's getting better. I'm sure it's still a long road ahead of him. So I wish him and his family all the best. And again, my condolences to the young lady, the West Virginia guardswoman who was shot and killed. I think her memorial was Friday, I believe. They had a memorial service for her on Friday. So we can't forget about either one of them. We have a problem with that in this country. We forget about victims and concentrate more on the perpetrators, repeating their names, putting their pictures on the news, et cetera, et cetera. We need to stop doing that. The perpetrator of this crime should never be mentioned again. His picture should never be shown. The only time we should hear his name again is when we find out the court verdict, guilty or not guilty, and then when he's found guilty, what the sentencing is, and that should be it. He should disappear into obscurity, never again to be heard from or seen of. Anybody who wants to go in the news and talk about him and try to explain what he did should not get any coverage. People should ignore them. We need to stop making stupid people famous in this country, and we're very good at that in this country. We make the wrong people famous in this country. Anti-Semites, racists, unintelligent people, loudmouths. We make them famous. And then the people that should be famous, like this gentleman, Staff Sergeant, we don't. We just don't. They go about their lives and we forget about them. It's the only time we remember people like this or know anything about them when something bad happens to them. So he should never again want for anything in his life or his family No vet should ever have to want for anything in their life if they've survived the war or been hurt in combat and survived. They should never need anything ever again. They should get whatever they need. We do that for illegal immigrants. And none of the liberals complain about that. So why don't we just start taking that money from them and give it to the vets and the elderly who need help and children who need help? Those three groups are more important in my book than illegal immigrants, aliens. I don't particularly, and I don't wish them ill. I wish they weren't here. They don't need to be. They shouldn't be. They should be brought back to their own country. And again, we talked about that earlier. That's the problem liberals have, is that we're enforcing laws that have been on the books. These are not new laws. These laws have been there. We've just had spineless presidents who chose not to enforce those laws and allow these people to come into our country carte blanche and do what they want to do. Now we have a president that's like, no, we need to stop that. American citizens come first. And of course, they're upset because, like I said, they don't understand these laws have been on the books for years. And again, I don't care if it upsets them. The law is the law. Enforce it. Move on. Hopefully he doesn't stop doing that. And don't get me wrong, I'm not 1,110% behind Trump. I don't support anybody 100%. I support him more than I've supported any other president before him. I'm probably like at 90, 95% with him, but there's still things he says and does that I don't agree with. But again, going back to what I said earlier, I don't want him to fail. I don't wish him to fail. He is the president of our country. If he does good, we do good. I don't understand why people don't get that. I hope he fails. You're an idiot. I hope you don't breed. If that's how you truly feel, I truly hope you don't have children. The gene pool needs a little chlorine, or we're going to get more and more morons. The admiral involved with the investigation that's going on about SecDef Seth giving orders to shoot again, has said that he did not receive a kill them all order from Seth. He made that decision to fire a second round, I believe, and doesn't understand why. Well, I'm sure he knows why. But he's saying that it had nothing to do with Seth, and that's great. I'm glad that he's stepping forward. Now, people said, well, he's doing it because, he's being forced to retire. I think he put his retirement paper back in October. So that has nothing to do with any of this. He's just being honest. I've seen the video, and it looked like the boat was still capable of movement. And then I read that they thought they were trying to get back on board to go away. And they shot it again. That's what you do. War is not pretty. Military action is not pretty. It's not for the faint of heart. It's a dirty, dirty, bloody business, and it has to be done. You don't get cool points, or you don't get to have redos or reset and start again. You have to make a decision and stand by it, and that's what the admiral's doing. That's what he's paid to do, defend this country. He's defending it. And if you think for 1 second drug runners and drug dealers shouldn't be considered enemies of this country, again, you're an idiot. They're from another country bringing drugs into ours to kill American citizens. That makes them an enemy. I don't know why that needs to be explained to people. And I do, and I always answer my own question because liberals don't accept reality. They just flat out don't accept reality. So, yep, he said behind closed doors in a briefing to congressmen and senators, nope. Seth did not give a kill everybody order. I made that decision on my own. I was given the authority to do so, and I did so. End of discussion. But it won't be. They're going to try to find a way to make it look like he was lying and that the SecDef had everything to do with it, and he needs to be impeached. That's already coming out. The people want to impeach him. I don't know what we're supposed to do. And again, I understand drugs is a two-way street. Supply and demand. I get it. I get that this country uses more illegal drugs than any other country in the world. I understand that. But that doesn't mean you sit back and do nothing. Oh, well, we can't stop it because people do drugs in this country and we can't do anything about it. Slow the flow. Start with that. control what you can control, and we can control the flow. Obviously, we're doing that. Then you can start working on the addiction problem. But right now, tackle what's in front of you. And then you have all these idiots, and I can't stress that word enough, idiots on Facebook or X or wherever on social media with the little maps of, Venezuela, the Caribbean, and America. Well, they can't get that speedboat won't go the 1,000 miles or however far it is to America. So this is just straight up murder. Maybe if you look at the map a little closer, moron, there's a lot of islands between them and us. So all they got to do is island hop. If they're going to take the boat all the way, they can refuel these islands. Or they can take an island and give it to a plane who flies it in. Who knows how they're getting it here, but we know it's getting here. So you've got these idiots making these little, that boat won't make it to the country. You're right, it won't. That's why they probably stop at all the islands in between us and them. Or like I said, they stop at an island, load it onto a plane, and the plane flies it in. These people are morons. They're so concerned or focused. They are so focused on going viral or getting all the thumbs up or likes that they overlook common sense. They're just trying to find that one little thing, that nugget of information that nobody else knows that they found and they can go viral with. Like, look at this. There's no way they can make it. Look at the map. It's like over 1,000 miles. That little boat won't make it. Everybody else is like, yeah, we know. We never said that boat was going to go all the way to the country. They're using it to get it off the mainland and go to islands with it. And then who knows what happens. Yeah, but you're right. It'll never make it to our country. You goddamn moron. What's your point? But people like that have followers. Hundreds of thousands, if not millions of followers. It's like I talked about Wednesday. The lady, and this may be disgusting, but it's the truth, who farts in jars, seals them, and sells them to people, has like 1 million followers. Really? 1 million followers for some fetish that people can watch and get. And then you've got people online who are really trying to make an impact, make you think. And I'm not talking about just me. There's hundreds of us out there. Hundreds of people out there just trying to get their opinion across. Can't even muster 100,000. I need to understand that. Have we slipped that far as a society that sensationalism and nasty things are more important and more popular than the truth and facts? And don't answer it because I already know the question. Nobody wants to hear the facts. Nobody wants to hear that they're wrong or that they could be wrong or hear an opinion that differs from theirs. Most people can't handle it. Most people take that as a personal attack. If I say, hey, look, Tim, you think aliens are real. I don't. Some people would take that in stride and you'd have a back and forth or debate. Point, counterpoint. Facts, counterfacts. Other people would take it as a personal attack on them and become defensive, insultive, and combative. Because you don't agree with me, you must not like me. And if you don't like me, that means you're attacking me, so I need to defend myself. We have lost the ability to have debates and discussions in this country. And again, goes back to education. I blame the school systems for that. They don't teach debate or healthy disagreements in schools anymore. It's all taught to take a test. They teach you a test, and that's what you take. Again, I can't stress enough, homeschool, homeschool, homeschool. Get them out of public school. That's we'll talk about that another time. But people can't be told, I have a different opinion. They don't want to hear it. They get upset. That's why I know why people who do stupid things on the web and people who are loud and obnoxious and talk about things that are controversial get a lot of likes and a lot of follows and a lot of hits. Because like the news used to say, if it bleeds, it leads. The louder and more obnoxious you are, the more followers you're going to get. I completely get it. I do. I just hope that changes and we get back to a more fact-based, unbiased, honest community. That's the best way to put it. And I understand I'm a little biased, but I also understand that other people have different opinions and they don't agree with everything I say, and I can live with that, and I will talk about that. Other people can't. These people who scream and yell and talk about crazy things, they don't want to hear you don't agree with it. They just want you to go, yes, you're right. And if you don't agree with them, they attack you. I'm off my soapbox. Sorry. Sometimes I go off on a tangent. Now, this is funny. This is really funny.
A raccoon broke into a closed Virginia liquor store and drank alcohol from the bottom shelves over the weekend. An animal control officer says the raccoon was found Saturday, passed out next to the store's toilet. The officer says the raccoon then sobered up after a few hours. Official says they released him back into the wild.
Apparently, he was a little belligerent and a little upset, as most drunk raccoons are. He fell in through the ceiling, I think, over the weekend when they were closed, and you saw what happened. He looked like he was a margarita fan. I didn't see any dark liquor out there. I saw a lot of like vodka and tequila. But yeah, he got drunk and passed out in the bathroom. We've all been there. Let's not lie. Let's not judge the raccoon. I can think of several times in my youth I drank too much and passed out. So I fully empathize with that raccoon and hope that he sobered up and got some Waffle House to eat, or some Denny's, or a greasy hamburger to help settle that stomach. And I hope he got to sleep the next day, sleep that hangover off, because I'm sure it was horrendous. But yeah, I thought that was just, as I was flipping through things, that popped up, and I just like, holy crap, that's funny. Yep, so the raccoon, I got to watch it again.
A raccoon broke into a closed Virginia liquor store and drank
right,
alcohol from the bottom shelves over the weekend.
Oh, no, there is dark liquor.
An animal control officer says the raccoon was found Saturday, passed out next to the store's toilet.
Wow, he likes the good
The
stuff.
officer says the raccoon then sobered up after a few hours. Official says they released him back into the wild.
And they're going to release him back into the wild after he sleeps it off. So he likes the good stuff. Glenfiddich ain't cheap. I couldn't tell what else was down there, but I know the packaging for that. Wow. Hats off to the raccoon. Here we go. This is another feel-good story. I think it's in Pittsburgh. Find my notes on this, if I can find them, and I probably can. What it is, it's housing for retired LGBTQ people. A new housing community is available for senior members of the LGBTQ plus community in Pittsburgh. Yep. Nothing for veterans. No housing for them or the homeless. Nowhere for, children. Nothing. Just for old senior members of the LGBTQ community in Pittsburgh. And I don't care if this was privately paid for or how it was paid for. This is disgusting. If you got the money to pay for this, why not build one for veterans too? Why not add a wing to a hospital for children? Something. This doesn't help society. It helps a very small section of society. Just so you can feel good about yourself that you helped some old flamer. Free place to live. They're the ones always screaming about separate but equal. Isn't that the same thing? Get your own place to live, but nobody else has it, but we're all equal. And this country's just slowly becoming a punchline. And it's because of crap like this that people just, I'm not even going to try to think about it. I think it's aggravating. It's angering. I think this country should focus on vets, disabled people, children, and elderly before we start helping homosexuals find free housing. Because that's a problem. That's what we all should be focusing on. That pisses me off. I brought these people back up, the trash in Portland, Oregon, for attacking Christmas and Christians, and decided I'd give them the winner. I'm going to award them. You can see it scrolling on the bottom. I have awarded them I Learned Foreign Policy from a TikTok Participation Ribbon of Shame. Is going to Portland, Oregon for their profoundly stupid, uneducated, ridiculous worldview, for attacking Christians at a holiday, one of the highest holiday for Christians. and chanting Free Palestine. I can't imagine a more low-class move by anybody. That is not the time nor the place. People are there with their children to have a good time, to light the tree for Christmas, start the season off, start, with brotherly love, community, togetherness. And these toilet bugs have to come out and ruin it for everybody because they're just miserable. And everybody knows misery loves company. So they want to start chanting about Palestine. Again, Islam, a Muslim country, pushing itself into our country and downplaying our holidays and our beliefs to put theirs above ours. Do you think we could go to any Muslim country in the world during one of their holidays and start chanting Free Israel? Or Israel should be left alone? No. And they would probably execute everybody who did that, as I just read Sharia law to you. They would probably become very violent against those protesters. But here, we allow morons to run their mouth and disrupt communities because it's the right thing to do. You don't want to be an Islamophobe, or you don't want to be a supporter of Israel. It's more important to be anti-Semitic, uneducated, loud, obnoxious, and stupid. That's more important, to let these people say and do whatever they want, because that's just how it should be. I think there should have been a crime filed. It has to be disturbing the peace. There has to be some crime that law that they broke. And they should be charged, even if it's just a $20 fine. Give it to them. And again, if you're somewhere and these toilet bugs come out and they're doing stuff like this, do something. Start singing a song. Start singing the Pledge of Allegiance. Something. Drown them out. They need to start being made to feel unwelcome everywhere they go and open their mouths. This is not behavior that we should tolerate. This is not behavior that should be allowed. This should be shunned. These people should be made fun of and ridiculed. Or it's going to get, I'm telling you, it's already getting worse. They've gone, now it's Jews, and now they're involving Christians. They're attacking both religions. I'm telling you, this is not going to end well if we allow it to continue. Mark my words. And I know everybody's saying, well, Trump's got mental illness. He's got dementia. We can tell by looking at him, blah, blah, blah. Biden, once again, had a speech while he was yelling and ranting and raving. It says, we're the United States of America, got it. America got it. The man should not be allowed in public. And I'm not saying that because I don't like him. I'm saying because obviously he has a problem. He should be somewhere relaxing and resting and enjoying his golden years, not being wheeled out on stage to give speeches to people that are ridiculously stupid to begin with and will applaud anything. He's on stage still babbling, still making America got it. What the hell does that even mean? Ranting and talking about clouds and stuff like that. This man needs to relax. And the people who are doing this to him should be charged with elder abuse. Let the man rest. Whether you like him or not, he served it. He did 4 years as president. He's retired. Let him retire. Leave him alone. I don't want to hear from him like I don't want to hear from George Bush. Like I don't want to hear from Obama. Like I don't want to hear from Clinton. I don't want to hear from any of them. I don't care what they have to say. They're done. They've done their job. They're gone. Go to retirement. Stop trying to influence things anymore. Christ almighty. Enjoy it. You earned it. But no, they're going to keep wheeling them out because people still pay $1,000 a plate to hear him speak, which is ridiculous. I am really shocked. I have not had a stroke yet on air. It'll probably happen. Sorry, I dropped my pen. Well, we're getting close to that time where it's time to say goodbye. So I want to thank everybody who's hung out with me tonight and everybody who'll watch this later on, tomorrow, tonight, or in the week. Thanks for watching. Again, there's a chat. You are more than welcome to post anything you want through the chat. I think it's on all the places we're on. So you can say something. Like I said, I will try to respond to everybody that says anything. Like, share, and follow us on Rumble, on X, on YouTube, on Facebook, on Parler, and all the different sites that we're on, like and follow us and share us. Make sure you're watching The Hammer on his shows and Alexander on hers. Watch us on Wednesdays on The Pulse at 8. Watch me every Sunday at 7. Again, we're not here to change your mind, so please don't think that's what we're trying to do. These are just my opinions. These are some facts I found, and this is how I feel. You don't have to agree with me. I don't expect that. And I wouldn't want everybody to agree with me 100% all the time, because that'd be pretty boring. So please don't think I'm talking to you because I'm trying to change your mind. I'm not. Just think and understand there's other schools of thought. Well, like I said a minute ago, when I read the Pearl Harbor thing at the beginning of the podcast, I usually do an opinion. Well, not usually. I always do an opinion at the end of the podcast. Sometimes it has something to do with the show. Sometimes it's something completely random and not even to do with the show. This sort of kind of has something to do with the podcast today, talking about that idiot representative that says she was maced by ICE and nobody else was. This kind of has something to do with that. So let me read it. Again, this is my opinion. You don't got to agree. These are the same drooling, purple-haired trust fund revolutionaries who spend the night shrieking Nazis through a $200 megaphone daddy bought them, lobbing bricks, bear spraying cops in the face, trying to dox ICE agents' kids, and generally acting like the loved children of a tantrum and a participation trophy. Then, the very instant a single federal agent in body armor takes 3 steps forward, or, God forbid, someone racks a less than lethal round, the transformation is instantaneous and hilarious. The masked tough guy collapses into a quivering puddle of submissive soy, hands shooting up like they were trying to surrender to an Apache helicopter. The voice jumps 3 octaves. Suddenly, they're the most fragile, innocent little lambs who ever walked the earth. I'm compliant. Please don't hurt me. You weren't compliant when you were trying to pull a rape-convicted gang member out of the marked ICE van, you absolute asshole. You weren't compliant when you slashed tires or screamed pedophile at a cop whose only crime was wearing a uniform. You weren't compliant when you formed a human chain to stop the deportation of a guy who beat his girlfriend half to death. But you are now? Now that the game is over and the adults are done playing, you're Mother Teresa, just with better pronouns. It's the most spineless, gutless, performative cowardice on the planet. These are people whose entire personality is cosplaying rebellion until the rebellion has a 1% chance of actual consequences. Then it's instant fetal position, big watery eyes, and a frantic search for the nearest iPhone filming the police brutality they spent all night trying to cause. They're not activists. They're not even useful idiots. They're just spoiled, over-therapized children in adult bodies who discovered screaming Nazi on a TikTok gets them dopamine hits. But a single night in county lockup would destroy their entire worldview. So they riot until the riot police show up, then flop onto the pavement like they've been shot by a sniper rifle the second someone zip ties them. Newsflash, you're a walking participation trophy. Putting your hands up doesn't teleport you away from the last 4 hours of felony stupidity you were just committing on camera. It just proves it what everybody already knows. You never believed any of the revolutionary BS you were spewing. You were just LARPing as a hardcore anarchist until the moment it stopped being fun. Then you remembered you've got a therapy appointment and a gluten intolerance. Enjoy the perp walk, genius. The only thing more embarrassing than your comical record or your criminal record is going to be the viral clip of you crying for mommy the second someone with a taser told you the game was over. Hands up? Nah, it's more like balls nowhere to be found. Again, that's my opinion. You don't have to agree with it. It's just how I feel. So yeah, thanks for hanging out with me this evening. I appreciate it. Again, it's always great. Great. It's humble. It's awesome that you take time out of your day, Sunday, to come hang out with me for an hour and a half-ish. Again, you don't have to agree with my opinion or anything I said tonight, just how I feel, and I figured I'd share it with you. Again, you can like me on X at Conservative Seth. Follow and share me off that. I'm also on Facebook, The Conservative Corner. You can follow me there, like and share. America's Pulse Network on X, Parler, Truth Social. We're everywhere. Rumble. Yeah, we're everywhere. We want to be everywhere else. So we need you. If you're interested in becoming a podcaster, go to our website, America's Pulse Network. Oh, things are going crazy. Technical issues. There we go. Go to America's Pulse Network, fill out the application, and we'll be in touch. If it's something you want to sponsor, a podcast for the entire network, same website, americaspulsenetwork.com. Fill out the questionnaire, and we'll be in touch. So thanks again. It was great. I will see you all Wednesday. I'll be late, so I won't be on the Pulse till 8:30-ish, but it starts at 8, so make sure you're there at 8 to see everybody else and hear what they got to say, because I'm not really that important. And pretty much I'm just going to be the angry guy complaining about things. But yeah, Wednesday at 8, same bad time, same bad channel, America's Pulse Network on X or Rumble, America's Pulse Network. So I will see you then. And again, if you live your life by a set of principles and not based on a political party, you're going to lead a pretty good life and leave something behind your family can be proud of. Everybody have a good evening, and I will see you Wednesday.
Yo, this is your Captain Seth. Thank you for watching this voyage of the Conservative Corner. Use your hook to click subscribe. That way, when the flag is raised, the next voyage is about to start. Also, share a drink with your other mutineers to join you on deck for the next voyage. We look forward to you shouting on upcoming voyages. Or, you will walk the planks. Season greetings. Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah, and raise your mug to the new year.